Hello everybody, Pope here. I've got some gameplay for you today in the German Leopard 2 prototype vehicle, the PT16/T14. Yeah, that's kind of a mouthful. I'm just going to call it the Autoloading Leopard because that's what this is. It's a battle rating 9.7 event vehicle that was available a couple years ago, I think during the summer event. And it is basically a Leopard 2 chassis stripped down. It's got no armor to speak of, but it's still got the Leopard 2 1500 horsepower engine, so this thing is super quick. But the main feature of it is it's got a 120mm main gun, but it doesn't have a traditional Leopard 2 turret. It's got an autoloader. It's a prototype turret, and so this thing carries 9 rounds in the ready rack, and it's 120mm, and it reloads every 4 seconds. So this thing, if you can get it into a really good position, is really lethal. And so, as you see, we are on cargo port starting on the south side, and on this particular map, regardless of the lineup I bring, I always like to bring a fast tank and go south, or north rather, down the railroad tracks. If you do it quickly, and especially in a group, you can get to where you are really on the flank of the enemy. You can get some really nice shots, and here's me just absolutely blowing everything I've got against this M1 KVT. I'm utterly unable to kill it. Like those are perfect shots. Like that's right through the neck, under the breech. A couple shots to the lower front plate, nothing would kill that thing. So finally it dies, but in the meantime I've taken some damage, which means I'm down 2 crew members. Ordinarily that would mean I've got a really long reload, but with this thing it's an autoloader, so you've got 4 crew members. Reload stays the same, 4 seconds, even when one of the crews are dead. The problem you run into is that when you deplete your ready rack, these things take for absolute ever to replenish. And so right now I've got 1 round in the chamber, and that's it, and I just blew it. And now I've got probably a good 40 seconds before it's going to reload a single round. So I've managed a couple kills so far. We were able to get the KVT and then that T series. I think it was a T72 of some kind of terms. But right now, rather than wait for these rounds to reload on their own, I'm going to go back to a cap circle. And if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, when you go into a cap circle, every round that gets replenished into your tank, it always goes into your first stage ammo rack. That's the first place that it goes. So these rounds are going to reload really fast sitting here on the cap circle. And so I'm going to get a crew member back as well, and we'll fast forward through the repair process, and there we are, we're done. I didn't wait for the entire ready rack to replenish, but I've got 7 rounds in the rack and 1 in the chamber, so that's 8 shots. And as you can see, our team has pushed really heavily and really strongly. They've followed up and kept that initial push we made really deep into their territory. And so we'll come around the circle here, and the corner here, and we'll see there's a bunch of tanks just lined up for us. So we'll take the shot on the terms. There was something else. It looked like either a wolf pack maybe, or some other light vehicle, wheeled vehicle, decided to make a little run for it. So he's gone. So rather than run out in the open, not knowing what's coming around the corner in a vehicle that's already been damaged, or I've already lost a crew member, I'm just going to sit back and wait for a second or two, reassess the situation, and figure out where I want to go and what I want to do. And at this point in time, it looks like it's probably pretty safe to move. There's some machine gun fire, and we just lost a 2A4 that looks like he was trying to spawn camp them. There's a lot of players left right now, so you don't spawn camp a team that has a lot of players left. It's just stupid. All you're gonna do is die. So we will use the speed and the smallness of this map and come back up around the corner. And if I play this right, you're gonna see right here where this tank really shines. My first shot, I completely flubbed it into that ZTZ-96. I totally, that was a stupid shot. I didn't make it. So I kill the AGS first. Second shot into the ZTZ-96 didn't do anything. Third shot got his breech in his barrel, and I would have had him. He would have been dead at that point had that 2S38 not come around the corner. So if you have an opponent who makes a poor shot on you, you have a really excellent opportunity with this particular vehicle to really make them pay for it. It's a real force multiplier. You can take on multiple opponents pretty well if you can get one of them to miss. So I die, which is fine. This match is going pretty well for my team, so I decided to bring out the Puma, which is another 9.7 German vehicle. It's an infantry fighting vehicle. It's got APFSDS and an autoloader. I think it's 200 or 300 rounds per minute, so it's not super fast, but it's a real good volume of fire that comes out of this thing, and the darts in it do pretty significant damage. I mean, these aren't your typical small caliber darts. These things have good post pen, and it's got 3rd gen gunner thermals, which is really nice. It's not really going to be much use on this particular map because we're small and in a city, but on larger maps when you're trying to scout targets and you know, spot targets and whatnot, this is a great tank. So one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this out right now is because their team is, I mean, we are into their spawn almost, and they're starting to spawn a lot of light vehicles, and like this 2S38 right here. If I'd have taken a regular shot with a regular tank on that, oh, and look, the Puma can't knock down a gas station sign. I can run over cars and knock over buildings, but a gas station sign is just too much. Anyways, so this thing is really good against light vehicles because it's got the volume of fire that defeats the no armor best armor meta. So we kill that that Russian AA gun, and then there's a poor little QN506 right behind him. So we've got those two guys dead in rapid succession after the 2S38, and that's one of the things where this thing is just really super good is against light vehicles. You're not going to be able to, I mean, unless you get a good first shot off and take out somebody's barrel or their breach, you're not really going to hurt main battle tanks from the front with this thing. It's not what it's meant for, but in terms of mop-up rolls and taking a lot of light vehicles out that come at you kind of piecemeal in rapid succession, this thing is great at it. So there's aircraft flying around. I'm trying to see if I can get a shot off on one of those. This thing does have, like the 2S38, and the it's got it can track air targets. So if you're able to lock onto an air target, you can track it, and it gives you a lead indicator. So this thing can perform anti-air duty. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it as it doesn't have proxy fuses or anything, so it's not as good as the 2S38. But if you've got something that's pretty close, it's pretty effective at it. So with the air threat not really materializing, I'm going to move forward, push in close to their spawn, and so there's a Lab AD that comes, or actually it's a Bradley. Bradley comes around the corner, and he made the cardinal mistake that you make in this vehicle is you don't aim properly. The crew is set forth. There are one in the front left, one in the middle left, and one in the middle right. But they're offset a little bit, so if you're aiming center mass on this tank, you're not going to kill it. It is frustrating as hell to kill this thing. And so that's what that Bradley just experienced. He experienced the frustration of trying to kill a Puma without aiming carefully. And that Lab AD right there did the exact same thing. He rolled around the corner, and I should have been dead. He should have had me dead to rights, but he didn't, because this thing's crew spacing is not normal. It is not typical, and unless you aim very precisely, you're not going to kill it in one shot. And so this little 1-2 punch there, and what's going to happen right here in a second is perfect illustration of what this tank really excels at, dealing with lightly armored vehicles that come in one at a time in rapid succession, because you're not going to out-reload it. And so that match right there, PT 16 T14 and the Puma managed to get 10 kills, came in first place, heavy metal hero, 69,000 lions, 10,000 plus research points. And so this match right here, I'm not going to show the whole thing. All the action, at least from my part, takes place in this vehicle. It's ultimately going to be a loss, but I wanted to use this to illustrate just how strong the reload is at this battle rating, and a tactic that I like to use that's usually pretty successful on this particular map. And so you've got the A cap. It's a single cap on this map, which means all the fighting is going to be over here. And so what I like to do is to come down low below the ridge line so you avoid shots from people peeking the ridges in the middle. And before you get to the cap circle, you don't go straight to the cap. You can cut right in this little, I don't know, this little canyon here. And around this hill to the left, it's going to look straight into the enemy's run to the A cap. And so there's going to be a lot of guys that come straight down that road to go right into the cap, right there. That's just, they're right there. They're right for the picking. And so I made a really bad shot on that Abrams. Just a really bad shot on him, but the wolf pack behind him is moving, and so make another bad shot. But that's the beauty of the reload on this thing, is that even after a number of bad shots, you can still recover. So the Abrams forgot about me. He paid for that. Pop around the corner, kill him. There's the wolf pack, killed him. And we've got the BMP2, killed him. So in rapid succession there, the reload on this tank allows me to get 3 really quick kills from behind the enemy at this particular point on the map. So here we've got another contender coming up to try to play. Hit the top of his turret, but he's going to come around the corner thinking he's got a chance, but he doesn't because of my reload. So eliminated his gunner, his horizontal, or his vertical rather, and was able to follow up with another kill. That guy would have killed me had I been in another vehicle. I wouldn't have had the reload to be able to do that with him. So one of the things you can do with this vehicle, if you have opponents, it's not very common. It's a fairly rare vehicle, which is surprising because of how good it is. But a lot of people aren't familiar with it. It's hard to distinguish this thing between a Leopard 2K unless you know to look for the 20 mil, or the Leopard 2AV, or a Leopard 1A5. Like, this thing looks very similar to a number of other vehicles in this battle rating range, and so if you don't know what it is, you don't realize there's a 4-second reload, and it's not 7, it's 4, and so you can bait people like I did with that guy around the corner, get him to push, not realizing how fast I'm going to be reloaded. So we've got the cap circle taken care of here. It looks like my team has done a pretty good job of preventing the enemies from getting close. I wanted to get some ammunition back in the ready rack. I depleted most of it with some of those bad shots from previous, so I wanted to get a full rack before I go up and start engaging more guys. So this thing is incredibly agile, incredibly mobile. It's very responsive. Its acceleration forwards and backwards is outstanding. And so you can really play hill humber here if you really want to. It goes up and down hills really fast. It's got great gun depression. And so one of the things you want to be careful of on this particular ridge line is getting shot from the side and from the back. It is very easy to make that mistake and think that you're safe and just focus on one direction. You really have to be situationally aware of where you are and what you're doing. So we're going to move over this way. That guy ends up getting killed. It was a T-64B, and when I look back to the left, I see a couple tanks coming out of their spawn, and they're high. They're high. So those guys are going to have a really bad day. That's a Lav AD. He's dead. Want to make sure that there's, again, nothing coming on my right, because if you can get tunnel visioned really easily if you're just focusing on how quickly you reload. That was not a good shot into that vehicle. I upper front plated him when I should have gone in the side, and it didn't do well. But because of my reload, I'm able to, those mistakes don't matter. Was able to kill that guy, come back with another shot on him, killed him, and I got shot by a KVT because I wasn't paying attention. to the other side. He killed me from where I wasn't looking at, and so I paid for that one. And like I said, that's the nothing really much happened for the rest of the match except I died a couple times and we lost. So made 62,000 lions, almost 10,000 research from that. And yeah, so that's the Puma and the Leo 2 PT14-16. And I thank y'all for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.